We want to show you a prophetic shift that occurred when the Temple Mount came back into Jewish hands.
It's great to see Bible predictions come true before our eyes. The church's rapture is the next big event in God's prophetic timetable. Prophecies must be fulfilled before the rapture occurs. It is approaching. It might happen at any time. Nothing but God's long-suffering grace and mercy keep it from happening. However, while there are no signs of the rapture, there is one key clue that it is imminent. If a third temple will exist in Israel in the future, what preparations are being made for it right now? There are signs of the progress of the preparation for the third temple to be built on Jerusalem's Temple Mount. In today's video, we'll go over the third temple ceremony. Therefore, if you want to ensure that you'll get all this information, please watch the entire video with us. On October 12th, many hundred people participated in a full dress recreation of the water libation as it was done in the temple in Jerusalem, led by Kohanim in priestly attire and directed by Levites playing musical instruments. The water libation ritual was well known during the Second Temple era, partly because of the linked ceremonial of the water drawing, which took place at night when the water was taken from Siloam for the following morning's water libation. A priest would fill a bowl drained into the temple court's bronze altar with water every day for 7 straight days by climbing a ramp to the altar. The ceremony was started at Shar Hashpat, the Dung Gate, in Jerusalem's Old City, when attendees gathered Kohanim priests wearing specially adorned robes as prescribed by Scripture and Levites playing musical instruments. On drums, violin, guitar, and clarinet, the musically talented Levites led the ceremony as it descended old stairways into the valley below the Temple Mount. As they made their way from the ancient city of David's ruins via an Arab settlement and toward the Shaloch Salom spring, which was used during the temple, the gathering chanted and danced. 4-foot-long pure silver trumpets punctuated stops in the procession. The occasion was presided over by the chief rabbi of Jerusalem, Rabbi Aryeh Stern, Rabbis Dov Lior, Shmuel Elihu, David Chai HaKohen, Ram HaKohen, Menahem Bornstein, Uri Chaki, and other illustrious rabbis. The Temple Institute's founder, Rabbi Israel Ariel, was also present. The gold water jug was at the front of the procession. The jug was filled at the Shalot's pool. The procession ascended to the mountain's summit once more. A mock altar and accessories had been set up in an open space next to the western wall. Large, lush willow branches were used to decorate the altar, just as they were in the temple. The priestly blessing served as the ritual's climax, followed by the once every 7 years Hakel ceremony. A small shrine and accessories were erected next to the western wall after the pitcher was filled with water. Large, lush willow branches manufactured in Tem were used to decorate this shrine. Then they returned to speak of the mountain. The Torah no longer obligates them to carry out their actions. The oral legacy Moses left behind includes the water libation. The main event of this festival, which took place when the temple was still standing, was the release of water, and the Feast of Tabernacles is remembered as a joyous occasion. For them, this is a time of joy and celebration, since the ceremony would take place over 15 hours, and the festivities would continue far into the night before the start of the morning services at the temple. On the final 6 days of the 7-day Sukkot holiday, a libation of water was made at the morning ceremony in the same manner as the libation of wine. From the temple, Kohanim descended to the Shalot spring at the foot of Mount Moriah, where they filled the flask with 3 logs, about 2 pints of spring water, before returning to the temple. Then 2 Kohanim went up to the stone altar at the temple's inner court and set 2 silver cups. Both liquids flowed into the holes of the altar that had been carefully created for this ceremony, as one Kohan poured water from the silver flask and the second Kohan poured wine simultaneously. When the third temple is constructed, The significance of the Shalot's pool, also known as Siloam in English and Silwan in Arabic, will once again become clear. For those who made the yearly journey to Jerusalem for biblical feasts, the Pool of Siloam served as their starting point. Before making the ascent to the inner court of the Temple Mount to present their sacrificed sacrifices, they would ritually cleanse themselves by washing in the pool and then depart. The pool southeast of the Old City of Jerusalem's walls receives water from the Gihon Spring via the Siloam Tunnel, also known as Hezekiah's Tunnel. The pool, also known as the Upper Pool and the Lower Pool in the Bible, was constructed during the reign of Hezekiah, 715 to 687 BCE, reigned to replace an earlier Canaanite tunnel exposed to the attack. Besieging forces could not reach the spring's resources because of the new pool and tunnel. According to archaeologists, the waters continued to flow south during the Second Temple period and were gathered in an extra larger pool. The pool was found in the summer of 2004 and is still being used today. The year following Shemitah is fortunate for the coming of the Messiah. It should be remembered. The line from Amos is quoted in the Babylonian Talmud Tractate of Sanhedrin 97a and reads, "On that day I will raise the fallen booth, Sukkot of David." Amos 9:11. Amid a prophecy concerning God bringing Israel back from exile among the nations, this verse is found. The Talmud states, "As it is said, on that day I will raise the tabernacle of David that has fallen," in the middle of accounts of the days leading up to the Messiah. The 7-year cycle, at the end of which the Son of David will appear in the first year, is what our rabbis stated would be fulfilled by this verse. Some weeks ago, on Rosh Hashanah, the Shemitah, sabbatical year, concluded. According to the Talmud, the Messiah will arrive in the first year following the Shemitah. It is essential to remember how thoroughly the Talmud describes the challenging years before the arrival of the Messiah. The culmination of the ceremony was the priestly blessing. The Hakal ritual was then concluded once every 7 years. The altar was adorned with large luscious willow branches as in the temple. There have been a lot of signs lately that the children of Israel want to build the third temple. Beginning stone cutting for the third temple, preparing ritual colors, making priestly clothing and vessels, and maintaining the third temple's infrastructure are all part of this phase. Organizations are also raising funds to help the third temple's building. You can only imagine how ecstatic the Jews of Israel are about all these advancements that will facilitate the construction of the third temple. The plans for the temple. For the past 4 years, according to Temple Institute spokesman Rabbi Chaim Richman, there have been precise drawings for the third temple. The Bible, Josephus, and Midat were the 3 basic sources from which the plans were to be created. These ancient criteria have been updated to reflect the usage of electricity and other contemporary advancements that are compliant with halacha, the law. In order for a temple to be rebuilt today, according to the rabbis of the temple movement, individuals who would enter the sacred space and carry out the holy duties must first be ritually clean. The only way to restore ceremonial cleanliness to all Jews who have become ceremonially unclean in the diaspora, dispersion, and build a functioning priesthood is through the ashes of the Red Sea. Even though the biblical texts are not always as precise as we would want, 3 biblical clues indicate the presence of a second temple. While the third is symbolic, the first 2 depict an actual temple. One of the reasons the Feast of Tabernacles is so important is because it's mentioned so frequently in the Bible to highlight other important occasions. Even though the building of the spiritual temple Paul spoke of is already in progress, and even though there will be a physical temple throughout the millennium, it is uncertain whether the Jews will construct another one before the return of Jesus Christ. The most significant use of our time and the most important thing we can do for ourselves is to participate in God's spiritual temple. Hey guys, that's all for today's video. Are we any closer to having the temple reconstructed today? Please leave your suggestions in the comment section below. We hope you enjoyed the video. If so, kindly hit the like button and tell your loved ones about it. Don't forget to subscribe to our channel and see even more of our incredible videos. You can also watch the other videos we've chosen just for you. Until the following video, take care.